what you're expecting to talk, because I don't even know what I'm going to say. I have a lot of mixed emotions right now. You know, I find it really fascinating that only Republicans stepped up and spoke about this issue. It's really depressing, actually. And I'm going through a dark night of the soul because I am a progressive liberal from Boulder, Colorado. And I don't understand what's happened to this party that used to represent me, that I grew up inside of. I really want to call out to that, because this shouldn't be a partisan issue. Liberty and freedom and justice and parenting, when did that become a partisan issue? I'm thankful for the Republicans that did step up, and you know, my heart goes out to you. And my vote might be coming your way if we don't wake up here in this Capitol right now. But I want to say, I think I have a little different perspective than many of the people that spoke today, because not only am I a homeschooling father, I was a homeschooled child. Now, some of you are probably hoping I had admitted that, and that might be a strike against all of us. And maybe some of you are thinking, if that's what you end up like, maybe I don't want to do this to my kids, because I definitely blame my mother for the situation I find myself in right now. But I want to tell that story, and some of you have heard it, but I want to talk about why my mother decided to homeschool me. I was in 3rd grade, and I had a little sister and a baby brother, and my sister and I would walk to school every day, which was just two blocks away in Boulder, Colorado. And one morning I got up and I put on this t-shirt I'd made in art class the day before. Well, I remember we'd been doing like these tie-dyed batiks, and I wrote the name of my gymnastics team, the Flyers, out of like the dye. It was really cool. I dug it, and so I wore my art project to school that day. And then I came back for lunch, as I often did, and I showed up, and I wasn't wearing my t-shirt anymore. And my mom said, well, what happened to the t-shirt you wore to school? And I said, oh, Craig said it looked stupid, and he lives right next door to the school, so I just borrowed one of his t-shirts. And my mom pulled me and my sister out of school the next day. And she said, I will never raise a child who cares what his friends think. If he's passionate about what he believes in, then that's what you will stand in, and that's who you are. That's what makes you great. That's what makes this nation great, is your individualism adds to the greater whole. And you're going to make sure you understand that before you leave my home and you leave this family. I taught my little brother, the baby, everything he knew about math. I wasn't doing that great in school, but he got his math from me. He's got his reading from me, and went on magna cum laude and all of that up to the university system. My life has worked out just fine. I find myself here able to actually socialize and speak to you, believe it or not. So I don't think we have an issue with socialization. I don't understand what this attack on parenting is that's happening in California. And I don't really think this is just about homeschooling. I think we know that, you know, the education system in California is really not doing very well. I think I just looked it up and we're ranked like 44th. And it's amazing to me that a politician like Jose Medina thinks that what he needs to focus his energy on is getting data collection and people to search the homes of the homeschoolers. I would say, why don't you focus on that failing school system you are in charge of? And if you really need data and information to understand why our kids are excelling so much better than yours in your public education system, we'd be happy to come over and give you some advice. But searching our homes, our books, our refrigerators, and everything that we are doing is not how you're going to figure out what makes us dynamic and fantastic. But this isn't just about homeschooling, it's about home searching. And this is what has really got me upset. It's why this building full of Democrats is going to lose a lifelong Democrat if something doesn't change. This isn't just one home search bill. This is the 4th home search bill we're dealing with. We busted all the other ones, and we're going to bust this one too. And just because you're backing away now from searching our homes and saying now it's just data collection, I'm not going to let you off the hook. I want to talk about this. Wait, someone's got the Fourth Amendment. Andrew, right? Come on up here. I think it's important to just see it. Because I don't understand. When we walked in today and we sat in the assembly room, just stand right here for a second. We went in and we sat in that assembly room, and they all stand there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Am I missing something? Is that no longer a value of being a Democrat? Are we no longer upholding our Constitution? Our rights to liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness? Just let me know. Let me know, because I am a Democrat. If we no longer stand by our Constitution, and we no longer stand by the Pledge of Allegiance, just tell me and I will move on and start voting somewhere else. Or start standing for what our founding fathers created here. It's not a joke. Joseph Medina, you say you're an educator, you're a teacher. Let me remind you, one of our lessons is history. What does this nation stand for? What are we doing here? Who built this building? And I'm going to call you out right now. These are not Democrats I respect. Jose Medina, Susan Eggman, Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, and Freddie Rodriguez. I don't care that you're backing away from this bill of home searches. Why do you want to search everyone's home? What's wrong with you? How is this an American value? And someone explained to me why you're so upset with Russians meddling with our voting system when you're trying to act just like Russia. What is your problem? If you want to have a government that controls the people, decides everything for them, goes in and inspects their houses and collects data on them, then there are other nations that are much better at that than we are. Try North Korea. How is it that California is emulating that type of oppression? How is that a democratic value? Right. And when we talk about history, please, let's read the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, to celebrate the t-shirt they made before they went to school, to remember that they don't have to be like everybody else, that their individuality is what makes us all great. To be secure in our houses, our papers and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. They shall not be violated. Unreasonable searches and seizures. I get it. One crazy couple did something horrific to their family, and now they're listed as homeschoolers. I'm not even sure if that's true. But what about homeschooling makes that the effort you're going to make to try and stop that happening again? We all want to see that stop. We don't want to see people treat their kids like that. But what does that have to do with homeschooling? None of these people are like that. We have higher rates of health in our children. We educate and we test way better than the other kids do. We have lower rates of abuse, as you've heard, and you can look all this data up. Why don't you try a computer before you search my home? Why don't you do your job? You don't need to search my home to get to the bottom of it. And you don't need more data. The data shows your education system sucks, and I'm not in it because I want smart kids. And I'm lucky I can do it. Unreasonable searches and seizures. Unreasonable. In fact, what makes it reasonable? The reason you want to search my home is because I teach math. Actually, my wife's saying, yeah, Del, I'm doing all the teaching. It's mostly true. As most of you know, I'm running all over the country. But to teach math and reading in our home. I don't understand the whole bill. It was all built around a fire issue. Somehow, there's a fire hazard. Is that from reading too hard? Are we like creating too much heat inside of the house? Is that not happening at home? What is it about reading during the day that makes a house more vulnerable to fire than reading at night and doing your homework at night, or sleeping in a bed, or getting up in the morning and making breakfast. Do you see how foolhardy this is? Do you see how scary it is that something this simple and stupid is being masked as caring about homeschooling or the education of our kids? I have news for you. Every time I turn on the news, there's a teacher molesting a student. That's happening in your public school system. Why don't you investigate that? Why do you make sure that my kids are safe all the time, 100% of the time, when they're in your school? And by the way, why do you get your education system to be number one in this country before you demand that I be a part of it? And then better than that, why do you make our education system in this country be better than the rest of the world before you demand that I have to be a part of it? We no longer are writing the most patents in the world. We are not creating scientists. We're not creating the greatest doctors. Everything's happening in another country. And every family standing right here is trying to fix that for you. We're trying to make you look good again. We're trying to make California thrive again. We want to be fantastic like we once were. Our future doctors are here. Our future scientists are here. Our future presidents are here. And that's what every parent here cares about. So please, if liberty is now a bad word, because my parents marched in the 60s, they fought to have an education system that they were allowed to talk about, that they got the education they wanted from the universities. That's what they stood for. They raised me as a liberal. I always took that to mean liberty was a part of that word. And I don't understand what is taking place. Why is it California is looking more and more like an oppressive nation?
Yep.
Our history books have warned us about this.
Yep.
And you talk about, the hypocrisy of this party is so sad.
Yep.
We're a sanctuary state, but we want to go and investigate your homes? Think about that. One of these bills was, we want to hand you some diapers so we can come in and search your house. From the same people that are terrified Donald Trump is going to take, Latinos and send them over the border. Yet you want to invite him right into your home with a pack of diapers. How does that make any sense at all? Do you believe in freedom? Do you believe in stop and frisk or not? I thought you had an issue with racial profiling. I thought you had an issue with stop and frisk. This bill is stop and frisk of your home. We are a minority simply by the fact that, yes, you outnumber us. But I want to tell you, I'm not standing here just for homeschoolers. I'm standing here for Americans. What you say you believe in the state of California, people allowed to be free, sexually free to be who they are. And in their race, a sanctuary state, what does that mean? If they can search your home. We've got to think about this. I don't just stand here for homeschoolers. I stand here for gays, lesbian, and bisexuals. I stand here for Latinos. I stand here for African Americans, Indians, and Asians. I stand here because what makes us great is our diversity. Not just in our race, not just in our religion, not just in our medical choices, but how we raise our children. Each one different from the next. In fact, when they say we want the data, we just simply want to collect data to know how you're educating your children. Are you using computer programs? Or are you using books? Guess what? We're using different things for each one of our children. How are you going to figure that out? Think about this. Our education system is designed for each child as they are needing it. What do they focus on? What makes them dynamic? That's what homeschooling's doing. It's using everything available to us. We are not stuck. We are not entrenched. And we're not screaming at our kids because they don't get it. We're finding out what makes them get it. We're finding out what makes them great. We're finding out what's going to allow them to stand at microphones like this and show up at town halls like this and be eloquent and get back to demanding that America truly be free and wonderful and dynamic as our forefathers intended. We're not here to make fun of our Constitution. We're here to teach our kids what our Constitution means. What it means to be free. And if this Democratic Party no longer believes in freedom, no longer believes in liberty, please just put a sign out here that says so. Please state that every time you run for re-election. Please let everyone know we no longer believe in freedom anymore. We no longer believe in liberty. We think we're smarter than you, and we think you elect us to do all of your thinking for you, to feed you, to clothe you, to educate you, to jail you when it all doesn't work out. I wasn't going to read, I was going through quotes. We all know the Ben Franklin quotes and everything else. The one I was going to say, those that can give up essential liberties to gain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. That's Benjamin Franklin. But this one, I want to read it because saying things like this, it seems like you can get arrested today. But this is one of your founding fathers, and this is how seriously they took this. This is how seriously they spoke when they were talking about freedom when it mattered. If ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contest of freedom, go home from us in peace. We ask not your counsels or your arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains set lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. That's Sam Adams. If you want to live in servitude, then go back to sleep. Let us do all your thinking for you. If you want to raise your kids to be dynamic individuals that feed the greater whole because they have new ideas and new thoughts and better ways to fix this mess many of you have left us. In fact, you're the head of the education department here in this building, Mr. Medina, and you're ranked 44th in the nation. Why don't you focus on your job, please? And leave those of us that are teaching our kids to do your job better alone. I'm no longer a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a libertarian. I'm an American. I'm an American that carries the values of my forefathers. My children will be raised knowing, do not trust any party. Do not trust any leader. Trust your heart. Trust your belief. Know what you know is true. And step forward and speak that truth always. Never, ever compromise yourself. Be fantastic. Be American. And we will be and continue to be the greatest nation in the world. Homeschoolers know that. Everyone in public school, please start teaching your kids that. If you're in private school, teach that also. We will continue to try and make sure that the entire education system works. But those of you out there thinking, should I try it? Should I try homeschooling? Only if you want your children to succeed. I want to thank all of you for coming out here. I want to thank all the politicians in this building that work tirelessly trying to figure out very complicated issues. We do have complicated issues. There are scary people treating children in a bad way, in schools, outside of schools, at homes, you name it, it happens. And it's sad for all of us. But our founding fathers were very clear. We can never let fear make us give away the entire purpose of this nation. The reason we are here, the reason our founding fathers stood together, collected together in the face of tyranny and said, it doesn't look good. We may die here, but we will die standing on our feet, rather than live on our knees. California does not want to live on its knees. We are one of the greatest, first of all, agriculture. I want to thank John Deere, by the way, for sponsoring this today. We have a gigantic nation-sized economy. We have a gigantic nation-sized heart. And we believe in freedom. And we believe in clean water. Still have values. I want a beautiful environment. I don't want to think I have to choose sides. I've never understood why environment is a partisan issue. I don't understand why parental rights are a partisan issue. Can we all stop arguing? Let's get back to our Constitution. Let's get back to our education as educators. Let's read our history. And let's remember that the entire purpose of this building is to figure out how to use the least amount of government to allow us to walk amongst each other. Otherwise, there's no reason to put down Russia. And there's no reason to put down North Korea. We are becoming that. And that is not our dream. Our dream is freedom. And freedom starts by striking down AB 2756. And I have news for any single politician in this building that decides that a home search bill is the way to fix the problems in this state, in this nation. Please, we have funding bodies here. And we will all put a basket together and collect money to buy you a plane ticket to go live with Putin himself. This is the United States of America. We are the greatest nation in the world for no other reason than we stand for liberty, for freedom. Is that not what that flag represents? Standing in the wind, blowing with bullets and everything fired at it, all the fear, all the tyranny, and we stood for freedom. Please, as Democrats, as Republicans, as Libertarians, whoever you are inside of this building, remember what built this building. Freedom built this building. Freedom is who we are. And freedom is why we stand here together. Thank you.